Yeah, just recently I finished reading a audio book on online on YouTube called Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich. And the the book itself, I was familiar with it years and years ago, which I believe my cousin he told me about it. I believe so, but I remember it. I've heard about it. I really haven't really taken it into my subconscious to really see how this book, this like world renowned book, can like change somebody's life, can like really alter somebody's future, right? Give you that control. So I started listening to this because I prefer to listen. I mean, reading is good, but I just prefer to let my mind take on a journey because like I feel like hearing it, it's just my opinion. I think hearing it just allows the mind to be on a vibration, right? Versus reading it, which is perfectly fine, but I absorb it. I feel a lot better if when I hear the audiobook. So I listened to it, and a lot of things I heard in it jumped out at me. And it wasn't that I was surprised at hearing it, but the way the mannerism in which it was said was completely different in which I've heard about it. And the dialect that was used was completely of a different time, right? I mean, the book was written, published in 1937, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, that's a long time, and things are now changing. 2018, dialect is different, and wording is different, and a lot of the wording that he used, I haven't heard before. You haven't really heard most people talk about. So it really made me kind of really get that understanding. So a lot of the steps that he spoke about, really made me look within, right? Because I believe looking within, you find the answers. You don't find it outside of yourself, right? You find it within. So taught about how to get something, how to when you have a definite goal, when you want something so bad that you need to do these steps, and within these steps are different tools that you can use to help you achieve these steps, and with strict measures and everything, and everything you need to do within these steps, you can achieve every goal. So okay, all right. So I believe that this book was put in my place because I was listening to another motivational speaker by the name of Wayne Dyer, and he speaks highly of Earl Nightingale. So Earl Nightingale now, no, sorry, he speaks highly of Napoleon Hill, which is the writer of this book. So I was like, okay, let me explore that option, right? Infinite now. There's so much knowledge out there, right? You gotta get it. You gotta just absorb it, take it. Key things that trigger you, and then you're like, you know what? I want to know about it, because if I learn about it now, I don't know where I might use it down the line. So, nevertheless, so it speaks about like a lot of things, and a lot of things to me hit me because we talked about like faith, how faith plays such a big role in achieving goals, and I believe it plays a very significant role because it offers you the foundation, right? It offers you a sense of groundwork. Because with faith now, if you put faith in any single thing that you do, you are 99.9% able and likely to achieve that goal by simply putting all of your faith. 90, you can do it. You can be put in a situation where anything can happen, or you could will anything, and it actually come into your physical world. Okay, so I found that very interesting. I was like, okay. So he also speaks about failure. Failure is a huge thing, a huge thing that comes up in life, and we experience, and we come about in our lives. I'm pretty sure everybody and anyone will experience failure, but failure is a very interesting thing. We look at failure negatively, and if we're gonna have an infinite mindset, or infinite worlds and infinite minds and infinite, you know, like health and everything, we got to speak life into everything. Every single minute thing is a big connection to our entire world. So we take failure and we look at it from a positive perspective. And we say, okay, failure has come. Now, this is what I'm going to do. So, in the book Think and Grow Rich, he says, every failure brings with it a seed of equivalent success. Every failure brings with it a seed of equivalent success. And that in itself shows you that anything that you want, anything that you desire, it's going to take you failing in order for you to reach a point in your life where you know that failure comes when success is near. Failure doesn't come to remove success. Failure comes when success is near. And it's near in all of us. And it happens at different points in our lives. But we got to take this failure that comes around us that we think is so negatively, and we have to embrace it. And when we embrace it now, then we can come to a point of understanding, which I believe is one of the biggest things, is when the human mind understands a concept, the sparks and stings and neurons and you know, items as such happen. They happen to show up, and that's what connects us, and that's what makes us understand, and that's what makes us really really hone in what the message is. So he touches on how to achieve goal, writing down the steps. He talks about a clear, decisive plan. I wrote it down, a plan. And I mean, the concept of auto suggestion, right? Auto suggestion being that you can now train your subconscious to think of an idea, but you can train it, but the thing is about our subconscious, or the concept of auto suggestion, is that we can't control our subconscious, right? If we know what our subconscious is, and it's like it's a personal recorder, just our day-to-day activity. We don't even know how we're even pursuing it, but we just know that, you know what, this area in my life, I'm seeing it, and you see it within your dreams, you see it within your everyday life. But auto-suggestion suggests that I can suggest to my subconscious that I want and desire a certain thing. So it's like you are giving yourself, you are telling yourself an idea, right? You are telling yourself that I'm going to be rich, or telling yourself that I'm going to achieve this wealth, or I'm going to be this type of father, or this type of parent, or this type of, you know what I mean? This type of member of society, right? I'm going to do this type of task. So it's that suggestion where you put in yourself that you can do a certain task, which is auto suggestion, which is amazing because it lets you really understand that anything you put into your subconscious, into your mind, you will see it. It will be someday and very soon along the journey be a tangible item or object in our present reality. Pretty much simple. So he talks about the different stimuli of the brain, which is really interesting. Learning about just how different things affect our brains, and how we can understand stimuli, and we can understand how emotions come about, and how decisions are made, and how reaching our goal within these platforms is key in order for us to stay on track. So within these objects, like he's told about love, money, music, friendship, harmony, mutual suffering, and once again, auto-suggestion, right? But the two negative ones that he said, that the two stimuli of the brain are fear and drugs, which is interesting because fear in itself is an illusion. It's an illusion. Because our minds can actually believe something that is not true, that didn't happen. Take, for example, when we get up from a dream and we actually believe that dream happened, right? I believe it's our mind being in a point of of continued vibrations long before we have even been our atoms and has been created. So how fear adds to it is it creates and it tells our mind that we are fearful of this specific thing. So what we need to do is eliminate the fear. Les Brown said, feel the fear and do it anyways. Feel the fear and just do it anyways. So if we can shape or switch how we look at fear, we can get to a point where there's a full understanding of the stimulants and how fear works on our brains and how it affects not only this goal, this plan that we have, that we've been set up for, but it affects us in a spiritual entity, a spiritual form. He also goes to talk about the one of the stimuli of the brain he also said was love, right? And love is a very high stimulant of the brain because love is an expression. Love is so many different things, but it's so many different ways because our brain thinks, or no two people think the same. So our expression of love is based off of our mind's interpretation of that specific concept. Like when we think about love, like what do we think of? Like how do our brain release dopamine and these happy feelings? Like but can we control those happy feelings that we have associated with love? Because everybody knows love comes at a cost, right? Love is tough. Love is hard. Love is blind. Love is everything. Love can be so many things, but it's the love that you once had for somebody that should not die. Situations are gonna happen. I mean, the saying goes, it's better to have loved and lost than loved at all, right? Because it's better to feel and know that you're capable of that specific feeling and to reach those heights. Because when you're in love, when you have love, you feel like you can conquer anything. Your world takes on new meaning, right? Takes on new meaning. So if we understand that these things in our lives are going to come up and they're going to bring new meaning to us, then we got to understand how these things, when they come up and there's a negative aspect of it, how it can be actually for our benefit and could help us learn how to love more and learn how to experience things and learn how to do these things and these journeys that we were put here to do. And that's what I take from it. That's definitely what I take from it. And he just went on one of the things that he also, I'm kind of skipping through, but I'm just specifically talking about the ones that really impacted me, is that the idea of when our brain, like we understand and we need to understand our brains. And when we understand how our brain works, then that will help us to understand how our present worlds work and how simple thoughts and simple seeds can be planted in this infinite field that could reap us bad things like that. Like, it's not gonna things aren't gonna come up the way we want it to come up, and this all starts back with the seed. So it was interesting learning about my brain, and taking the concept of planting and being able to broadcast, because our brain broadcasts and receives station of vibrations, and these vibrations come at different there's different speeds, right? Different frequencies, different everything. They come at different times in our life. They comes at areas in which we need to hear them, but they're there all around us. I believe that they're always there. It's just we need to just sometimes tune it in. We just sometimes stop ourselves. But the brain, amazing. It takes us on infinite journeys and worlds and reaches heights that we don't even can fathom. But just a sheer understanding of the human brain will let you realize and understand how to handle situations. Like, situations come up, things go bad, and times will get hard, and it's tough to be, you know, in certain situations. It's tough to be in places where that are uncomfortable, and it helps us to know and to stay focused on the facts that we're here, and we need to study and understand what we came with, right? Because 99% of who we are, we cannot see. We can't see that person. We can't see that invisible self. And we need to get a good understanding of how situations, and once again, I say situations because situations do happen. They happen all the time, and it's just about how we can change and how we can understand, the bright side of life. And yeah, this book, you talked about the sixth sense, the powers, and it's very interesting. This whole discussion about being, about God, about religion, about church, about everything, right? But I believe, and I strongly believe, that when we sit down and we put aside all of our conditionings, right? All of what we brought in specifically into that room, and we take it and we put it aside, and we understand a concept that this book revealed or said. And it's very interesting, and I'm going to read it. It says, you may not understand, okay, so you may not understand what's going on in this world. You may not understand what to choose, what religion or whatever it is, but this is what is fact. This is fact. That there is a power, a first cause, an intelligence which permeates every atom of matter and embraces every unit of energy perceptible to mankind. And that just explains it all. So you may not know what it is, but there's something. As I said, there is a power. So we know what power is. We know what would, and the all the benefits of power and how power benefits our life. So we need to know that the power outside of ourselves is there for benefit our lives and to help us grow and to help us be the place that needs us to completely understand and take hold life and the illustrations and the supreme wonderfulness of this world. And I mean, he goes on to talk about such amazing aspects, and I think that this book has helped me to open up my mind, and it helped me to really tap into myself, my infinite self, and to really put my life and everything in my world in perspective. It's helped me to really understand in myself that I can achieve anything that I want to achieve, and I could be and do anything that I want to achieve. All it takes is a steady growth, a steady understanding that things are going to get hard, and when you plant a seed, it's going to need a lot of different conditionings for the seed to grow, and these conditionings are going to come at different paces, different length, different strength, different areas, but you know what? It's going to come and it's going to benefit us and it's going to make us better. So I give this book an A+, and definitely I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to read it again. So thank you. Bless.